What's up and welcome to the video. My name is Dr. Daniel Ricciardi. I'm a pharmacist and I've helped hundreds of people get rid of SIBO, IMO, and IBS symptoms using this exact SIBO algorithm we're going to talk about today. If you haven't seen any of my videos before, I had SIBO for almost a decade, specifically methane type symptoms, and I had bloating, gas, and brain fog that affected me on a daily basis. So trust me when I say, if you're going through these symptoms, I know what you're feeling. We're going to go through all these steps in detail. If you do want additional help, down in the description below, there's some links. There's a free SIBO training. There's a link to join my online program, SIBO Shortcut, with a private Facebook group. And if you are looking for more individualized one-on-one help, shoot me an email, drdanielricciardi@gmail.com.
As a quick disclaimer, this video is for informational purposes only and is not meant to diagnose, treat, or replace the recommendations from your practitioner.
Getting started. If you're looking into SIBO, chances are, or almost 100% chance, you're having some sort of IBS symptoms. And when I say IBS symptoms, we're talking about bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea, abdominal pain, or nausea. You're almost definitely going to have at least one of these. First thing to do, starting out with IBS symptoms, cleaning up diet, eating hygiene, digestive supplements. I'm going to talk about these a little bit more briefly, but if you want to see the full video of all the steps in detail, I'm going to put a link right up here on the screen. Diet, I usually recommend people eat single ingredient foods, which means you look at the ingredient label. If there's one ingredient on the label or it does not have an ingredient label, you're good to go. We want to avoid highly processed foods because these are the ones that typically have a lot of different added ingredients that can cause a lot of digestive issues. And for a lot of people, just not eating stupid foods is actually going to get rid of your IBS symptoms. And then we don't have to do any of this other stuff at all. This happens way more commonly than you think. Avoid highly processed foods, eat single ingredient foods. Eating hygiene, this is a term, I don't know if it's well known or not really, but that's the term I use. This means helping your body out with digesting food as well as you possibly can. Things such as chewing your food really well before swallowing it. Chewing is the only thing you actually have power over to help your body with digestion. After you swallow the food, then it's up to your body to digest it. Not drinking a lot of liquids during meals. I usually say sip, don't chug water. The more we dilute stomach acid, the harder it is to digest food, and this can lead to IBS type symptoms. Eating hygiene is also going to include stress relief, especially around mealtime. Taking a bunch of deep breaths before eating can activate what's called your parasympathetic nervous system. This helps your body put out more stomach acid, digestive enzymes, and bile, so it's easier for you to digest food properly. Trying some other digestive supplements can also be a simple way to actually address these IBS symptoms without having to do anything else. Things like betaine HCl or apple cider vinegar, ox bile, digestive enzymes, or digestive bitters can actually be the boost you need to improve your digestive symptoms. I've seen people just take betaine HCl or apple cider vinegar and their digestive symptoms go away. Lastly on here, I have doctor's appointments. Go to your regular doctor's appointments. There could be something else going on that's pretty obvious where if the doctor just looks at it, they determine what it is and then you can just fix that. Okay, so that's it for this segment. If you feel better from doing any of the stuff on here, just continue doing that stuff and you're basically done here. You don't have to do anything else. If you're not feeling better and you've honestly made a good faith effort to do all of these things here, which most people, to be totally honest with you, can't say that they really do, but if you've made a good honest faith effort to do all this stuff and you're still not feeling better, this is the time to look into something like a SIBO breath test. Do a SIBO breath test. I prefer if you used either lactulose or fructose for the testing. There's a lot of reasons why for this. I don't really prefer using glucose as a test substrate. I'm not going to talk about this in the video, but I have a lot of other previous videos that go over this. If your SIBO test or multiple tests are negative, this is the time to explore other causes. Might be time to do something like a functional stool test, like a GI map test that checks out all the bacteria in your microbiome, looks for fungi, looks for parasites, checks other intestinal markers, trying to identify some other sort of issue. If your SIBO breath test is positive, or if a SIBO breath test is just unavailable where you live, then we're going to go down to treating SIBO. And as you can see, we have three general options for treating SIBO. We have antibiotics, herbals, or the elemental diet. Choose one. Do not do all three at the same time. Antibiotics, depending on which type of SIBO you have. So if you have hydrogen, you're typically going to have more diarrhea type symptoms. The antibiotic you normally use for this is rifaximin, brand name Xifaxan. Usually you would not do an additional antibiotic with diarrhea type symptoms or hydrogen. If you have methane or more constipation, you would do rifaximin in addition to neomycin or metronidazole. That is standard treatment. This is probably not the best for everybody to do, but that's in general what we see. And then I also have a little red asterisk here where if you're using antibiotics, we're also going to use something to address biofilm or disrupt biofilm. If you're not familiar with what biofilm is, when bacteria form in the intestine and the longer they live there, they want to protect themselves and have an easier time surviving in your intestine. They form this substance called biofilm. Basically, it's like a protein carbohydrate structure, and they live in it and they use the biofilm to communicate better. And once biofilm's formed, it's actually way harder to kill off these bacteria with antibiotics or herbals. If you're doing antibiotics, we're going to use something for biofilm. A couple biofilm disruptors I've used a lot are Interface Plus, sustained release N-acetylcysteine, another product called Biofilm Defense. Those are a few common ones. Interface Plus, do not use if you have an egg allergy. And then we're going to do some sort of diet with the antibiotic protocol as well. You don't have to do a low FODMAP diet. What I usually recommend for people is to eat a diet where you're eating the amount of carbs, fiber, and sugar that is not making your treatment miserable. For some people, this may be a very strict low FODMAP diet. For other people, it may be a diet that's very similar to their regular diet. And then herbal antimicrobials, this is also an option. You're going to do 4 to 6 weeks of this instead of 2 weeks of the antibiotics. Herbal, common ones for hydrogen, berberine, neem leaf, oil of oregano. And then for methane, allicin is the most common one. Atrantil is also a good option. Red asterisk, so we're going to use one of those biofilm disruptors and then use that same diet that I just talked about a moment ago. Elemental diet, this is 2 weeks in most cases. We are not going to be using a biofilm disruptor, and we are not going to be eating the low FODMAP or regular type diet, because the elemental diet uses a starve them out approach, so to speak, instead of these two, which are physically killing the bacteria. We don't actually need to use a biofilm disruptor. Don't use biofilm if you're doing the elemental diet. After we do this treatment, we're going to do a follow-up SIBO breath test if one is available to you, and also start taking a prokinetic. Why are we using a prokinetic? With SIBO, the biggest issue that people have to deal with is gut motility, specifically the motility of the small intestine. Having impaired small intestinal motility is the largest reason people get relapses of this. Treating SIBO once, it's hard enough and it's annoying enough to do. We don't want to have to do it multiple times. Starting a prokinetic, there's prescription ones such as prucalopride, there's over-the-counter ones such as Iberogast, 5-HTP, Artichoke, Trifala. There's a bunch of white label products called like Modal Pro, Motivity. There's a lot of them that use the same exact formula. This prokinetic, we can even start this as we're doing our treatment as well if we're doing the antibiotics or herbals. But if you don't start it during the treatment, especially start it right here. All right, so we did the SIBO breath test. If it comes back negative, that's a good thing. If it comes back negative and you're feeling better, you're gonna keep doing that prokinetic. We're gonna do a gut healing protocol, which I'm not gonna talk about a ton in this video, but essentially we're gonna be trying to heal the gut lining. So things like mucilaginous herbs like DGL, slippery elm, things like glutamine, things like bloat blocker, adding in some probiotics to help reform the microbiome after using herbals or antibiotics. These are all gonna be things that are gonna help the body heal, reduce inflammation, and try to fix that leaky gut that SIBO causes for most people. And then we're going to continue the same diet that we were doing during the treatment phase. Hopefully, as you feel better, we're slowly adding back more and more foods till you're eating more of a standard diet if you cut food out to begin with. And then if you had a negative breath test and you don't feel better, this actually isn't that bad of a thing, and it's actually really common. With SIBO treatment, we're killing off bacteria, and when bacteria die, they break down into small pieces called LPS or lipopolysaccharide. The body has to try to get rid of these because these are significant toxins to the human body. A lot of the time when going through SIBO treatment or right after, there's just a lot of inflammation and leaky gut that you're experiencing, and you just need to give yourself time for this to go away. So if you don't feel better, this isn't necessarily bad. We're going to do the same sort of protocol using the prokinetics, doing the gut healing. I didn't put it on here, but we're going to continue the same diet as well, and then hopefully add back food slowly. But we also want to think about investigating other root causes, because if you got a negative SIBO breath test and eventually you're still not feeling better, there could be something else involved. This may circle back to things like I talked about doing a GI map, like a functional stool test, to look for other potential reasons of gut issues. All right, and then if your SIBO breath test follow-up test is positive, you're still showing that you have SIBO, we're probably going to want to retreat at least at some point. If you're somebody that's done a bunch of rounds of antibiotics or a bunch of rounds of herbals all in a row and it's still positive, you may not want to immediately jump into retreating. For a lot of people, I actually actually recommend you do a month of gut healing just to give your system a little bit of a break. If you have a positive test and you notice that the numbers at least went down significantly, this is still a good sign and there's a good chance that you're feeling somewhat better. So if you just did one round of treatment, you still got a positive SIBO test, but the numbers came down a lot, you may be fine just hopping back into another round of treatment right away. If you got a positive SIBO test and the numbers really don't look better than the previous one, or they're even higher, this is probably time to reassess the approach a little bit. If you did antibiotics the previous time, maybe time to switch to either herbals or elemental diet, or vice versa. Or if you didn't use a biofilm disruptor, this may be time to make sure that you really include one for the next round of treatment. Because if you do a treatment and it didn't work at all, you definitely want to change at least something if you're trying to retreat. Anyways, we just scratched the surface basically for talking about the SIBO algorithm. There's a ton more detail that I could go into on every one of these steps, but this video would be probably hours long to talk about every different possible scenario. So like I said, if you want to learn more about this, check out SIBO Shortcut in the description below, or reach out to me one-on-one if you want more individualized, personalized help with this specifically. That is all for today. If you got value from this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more related content. It really helps me out a lot. If you've had SIBO or done SIBO treatment, let me know down in the description below what things have been the most useful for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.